We welcome you all today to the third LSD event being organized by Nagaro in partnership with Analytics Vidya. LSD stands for Learn, Socialize and Disrupt. These LSD events aim to build a vibrant and successful platform for the like-minded and then not so like-minded individuals to come together for debates, discussions, workshops, seminars and hackathons, to name a few. To begin this program, we are pleased to have on stage someone who has nurtured Nagaro's technical culture and its customer-centric ethos. Someone who is forever excited by the possibilities offered by new technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Vaibhav Gadodia to deliver the keynote address for the day. Thank you.
Thank you to all of you for joining us here today. The day is planned in a way where you will be diving, into the deep discussions about data analytics, where the field is going, how machine learning is playing a role. I actually wanted to take a few minutes to talk about this field of machine intelligence from a much higher level. Machine intelligence is important. Nagaro works with a lot of different domains, in terms of customers. We work with airlines, we work with automobiles, banks, startups, product companies, and we see machine learning, machine intelligence, AI as topics which are becoming highly recurrent in our conversations with our clients. And we actually set it as one of the three main things we are doing for the next couple of years as a company. And a lot of chatter, a lot of conversation is also about how the advance in machine learning impacts us. How does it impact my job, for example, or how does it impact different roles that our customers, employees play in their day-to-day activities? How does it empower us, but how does it threaten us? There's a lot of chatter around that. So, I won't take too long. I just want to give you guys a viewpoint that at least I have, and I share with some of the people I have talked to about this topic. I'll get started. It's not a very long presentation, so we'll get to the more interesting stuff very quickly. We all know about the Industrial Revolution, right? A few hundred years ago, a couple of hundred years ago, we decided that human-powered processes or using manual labor to do our work is not the only way. People discovered machines, people discovered engines. They realized that we can really scale production, we can really scale labor if we build machines. And the consequence of this was that people started thinking of new ways to use machines. People started inventing all kinds of use cases, so to speak, where they were building things which couldn't have been possible before. But because we had a newly discovered power which was becoming cheaper, more commonplace, people came up with use cases to build bigger, faster, more complex things, and that kind of laid the foundation for the world as we have it today. We built everything from staplers to rocket ships, right? So that was one revolution, and we've had many revolutions as a species, so to speak. Then in the last few decades, we changed how we communicate. We changed how we look up information. We changed how we share information, and the computers became commonplace. Everybody had a PC, everybody had a mobile phone, and we went through, call it a revolution. People call it the information revolution, but we went through a shift in again thinking of new use cases on how to use this newfound power. It became suddenly so cheap to communicate with each other. There were new mechanisms available. We were able to find information much faster. We were able to use the computing power of computers to solve problems faster. So we started, using these technologies and these developments for use cases that were not even present before, social networking, or using Facebook to store your photos, or using LinkedIn to make replace your black books of professional networks and so on. And as you can see a pattern here already. I mean, every time humanity discovers something new, we figure out a way to make something cheaper, scalable, more widely available. Everybody gets together and starts thinking of new things to do with this newfound resource, so to speak. And now we are, I truly believe, in the middle of another revolution. And this revolution, is not about creating new ways to cheapen production or information sharing. It is about scaling a very basic human capability, the capability to predict. We humans are very good at prediction, and we can use information that we have, or experiences that we have, or inferences that we can make from non-direct experiences to predict an outcome. We can, for example, just by looking at the last few LSD events, predict how many people we have to invite to fill up this room. And it doesn't really require any, it's all in our brains. What machine learning is doing is trying to teach computers how to predict. And there's so many other examples of predictions. Doctors predict. Doctors look at your symptoms and predict what kind of disease you might have. They might have tests, results, and still they're predicting what kind of problem you're facing in your body. Lawyers predict, or drivers predict. If I'm driving the car on the road and I see somebody, leaning towards the road on the pavement, I can predict that there's a chance that this person might actually step in front of me. We are doing predictions every moment of the day. Everything we do, we are predicting all the time. And a lot of us in this room are from the IT sector. Programmers are predicting, architects are predicting. An architect looks at a set of problem statements and predicts what kind of solution will be needed. And all of these are prediction jobs, one way or the other. I can predict when my daughter asks for some ice cream, I know she will want strawberry because my past knowledge tells me that she prefers strawberry ice cream. So this essential capability of humans to predict things is what we are trying to scale in this revolution. We're trying to make it cheap. We have the computing power available now, the algorithms available now, the technology available now to do this. And not only can we teach machines to predict, just like with the Industrial Revolution or the Information Revolution, we will come up with new use cases on how to state regular problems and in a way so that they become prediction problems, so that we can actually apply these tools that have become available. And there are some obvious cases, and there are cases which are low-hanging fruits. Your traditional forecasting and analyses and data-centric problems that you even have today are easy. They can move to machine learning very quickly. But there are other non-traditional problems from a data perspective which can benefit from machine learning. I read a small experiment that somebody ran for their parents' farm. This guy's parents basically grow cucumbers, and at the end of every harvest, every day when they pick the fruit or vegetable, I actually don't know which one it is. Somebody sits and manually sorts individual items into different levels of quality, and then they sell it at different prices. Now, he actually just wrote a machine learning algorithm which takes a look at a photo of each of these foods and does the same thing. I mean, he taught it and it's done. I mean, nobody would think that I would use machine learning for that. Or the classic problem, driving, autonomous driving. Maybe a couple of decades ago, if you wanted some vehicle to move on its own, it would not be on a road, it would be in a constrained environment, and you would be riding if then else type situation, If the distance is so close, slow down, or if something comes in front of you, stop. But today, I mean, companies like Tesla or Uber or Google, I mean, they're recording millions of kilometers and millions of hours of human driving and just throwing that at a machine so that the machine can learn to predict human behavior and then bring that behavior to the actual autonomous driving platform. So as the technology and capability becomes available to us, we will learn how to restate current problems as prediction problems. And that's where everyone should actually think, how do I use machine learning? Well, can I state this problem in a way that becomes a prediction problem? Then yes, the answer is that you can probably use some flavor of machine learning or AI to solve your problem better than ever before. So then what is the impact? That was the title of my little talk here. Well, it depends on how we add value today. A lot of coverage in the press has been about people are going to lose jobs and humans are going to become redundant and maybe that's going to happen. I mean, I'm not an economist or I don't know how to answer that question. But for sure, economists like to say that when a resource becomes cheaper, it becomes easy to, let's say, do manual labor because machines are doing it, or hosting is cheaper or whatever. Any other thing that is a substitute for that resource loses value. Human labor lost value because machines could do the job, right, and so on. On the other hand, anything that complements this resource increases in value. So in order to illustrate that, if my job today is such that the value I add on my day-to-day is all about prediction, so based on my experience, I predict risk. I'm a project manager, If that's all I do, I can very easily be replaced by a machine today. I mean, at the Garo, we are actually running experiments on adding machine learning to some of the operations that we do to manage and run the company. Risk prediction is easy. I mean, we have so much historical data, we can actually start training machines to aid us in risk management, for example. On the other hand, complementary to this prediction capability that I have, I bring in judgment, I bring in ethical reasoning, I bring in emotional response, and I can then develop those capabilities so that I can act more rapidly, or I have more people to act on the predictions that a machine makes. Today we employ a lot of people to actually make the predictions, and if we actually take away that capability and give it to a machine, it can do it at a scale that we can't do it at today. But then we have to train our people to work with those predictions, to bring in the other human capabilities that maybe machines can't do today. And I want to leave everyone with one thought. A lot of people don't realize, at least the people I talk to, don't realize the storm we are in. Machine learning, AI is actually a revolution in that sense, and we should all think about the values that we are adding, or the skills that we have, or the problems that we are trying to solve. Are these prediction problems? I think that's the one learning that at least I have when I look at machine learning. Can we transform the world around us so that there are prediction problems, a set of prediction problems, and then we can actually use these tools that have become available to us. And while the rest of the day for you will be much more technical and to the point and concrete than this abstract few minutes I gave, I think I would urge all of you to, in the back of your mind, to think what machine learning does. It basically makes prediction cheaper and more scalable. That's all I have. Thanks for your time. If any of you have any questions or discussions, please drop me an email. I'd be happy to engage. Thanks a lot.
Okay, now getting started with the program here. It's with great pleasure that we introduce our first speaker for this afternoon, who's going to talk to us about building modern data platforms. A senior director at Nagarro, this gentleman is a seasoned analytics leader. A keen focal point for his career has been to solve the business problems at hand with data and analytics. He has actually seen analytics ecosystem evolve from the ugly black UIs of the mainframe SaaS systems to the sophisticated AI applications running on our mobiles today. He continues to be thrilled by the unending possibilities of how analytics is changing the world we live in. Ashish Gupta, thank you.
Over several years, we have seen how data and availability of data has been evolving, right? The technology to support that data, which is what the entire analytics, machine learning, everything feeds on, has evolved tremendously and dramatically over years. Companies like Google, Amazon have been, thank you so much. Companies like Google and Amazon have been at the forefront of this revolution. They have actually revolutionized the way we look at data, the way we process data, and the way we leverage data, right? Today, for the next few minutes, what we're going to talk about is, I'm going to just talk about some of the experiences, how we perceive at Nagarro in terms of how the new modern data system should look like, right? Now let's look at some of the complexities which have been added to our universe, right? Today, we live in a digital world. As you can see, this event is right now being live at Twitter. We are being podcasted or telecasted live on Facebook. We have our phones, which is a humongous generator of data, and so on and so forth. So we live in a digital world while we shop, while we communicate, while we interact, while we showcase our perceptions or whatever, right? So all the time we are engaged in some or other digital activity. And that's not just us. Look at machines around us. We have connected cars, we have connected phones, we have connected pretty much everything today. So what does it do, right? Paradoxically, this entire digitization of our world is producing our most valuable asset, which is actually a byproduct, and that is data. Big, small, microscopic, telescopic, whatever, right? You name it and you have it. So we're looking at structured, which was pretty much there for several years, unstructured, which is a landfall, and then now on top of it, the streaming data. Data coming in from machines, data coming in from mobiles, data coming in from our cars, from our Bluetooths, whatnot. Now, all these new data sources, along with the traditional ones, are representing an amazing opportunity in front of us. Today, using sensors in a machine, we're getting telemetrics data, which insurance companies are using to understand your driving pattern, how good or bad driver are you, and then are customizing or personalizing their insurance policies to a micro segment or even at an individual level, right? We're using clickstream data from our websites to try to see how people are engaging with us, with our brand, and so on and so forth. We are using our server data from our data systems, from our IT servers, trying to predict when they're going to go bad and can we make proactive steps to avoid that. So all of these new sources of data, along with our traditional data sources, our operational data, our transactional data, is using immense opportunities. The key lies in harnessing these opportunities to the appropriate levels. But then, we have been hearing about this for a long period of time, right? Over the last decade or so, since the advent of some of the big data technologies where Google started doing experiments on how to do MapReduce technologies and all those kind of things. We have been hearing about big data. Big data has gone through its own hype cycle, and is now pretty much normalizing in terms of the value it is generating for us. But still, as we talk to clients, as we look ourselves internally, as we talk to our peers in the industry, the challenges continue to be humongous. We are trying to solve these challenges one at a time, but then they continue to be there. Let's look at some of the key challenges we are facing, right? First of all, while we get loads and loads of data, it's calling cats and dogs on us. Not every data is of good quality, not every data is usable, so we have to cut to the clutter, cut to the noise and identify the right essence of the data and use it. And hence, ability to manage the quality of the data and the ability to ensure that this data is right is absolutely critical. Think about this, Virabha was talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning. What if an machine learning or an artificial intelligence system learns from a bad data or learns from a wrong data? It will make wrong interpretations, right? Which will be catastrophic for us, for anyone using that artificial intelligence or machine learning to make the decisions, right? Hence, as we have an age-old term in analytics, garbage in, garbage out. So even in the new world where we're using AI and machine learning, the quality of data still continues to be the primary and the subprime requirement for any system to work. Now, when we talk to a lot of clients, right, and they hear about data technologies, big data, they immediately start talking about, oh, what tool we use? What platforms do we use? How do we do this in memory, all that kind of stuff, right? What they fail in asking is, what are the problems we are trying to solve? Why we are doing what we are doing? And hence, business has a lot of expectations when it comes to big data. However, in our zest to just get this data, process it, be fascinated by the technology, we are forgetting that this data needs to solve a certain problem. And the list keeps on going. The list is unending, right, in terms of the challenges we face. And over the last decade or decade and a half, many of these challenges we have been trying to solve and have successfully solved. Today, if you look at systems coming in from Azure, Microsoft Azure, from AWS, from Google, Amazon, and whatnot, and a lot of stuff we are building at Nagarro, we are continuously focusing on some of these challenges and trying to solve them. Now, when we see deluge of this data, right, look at what our traditional approaches was, right? There was data, we were managing an RDBMS system, OLTP and OLAP systems and so on and so forth. We store them, they would be connected to business applications. It worked well. The data was in control, we could control all of that, we knew what was coming our way, we could manage that. Now let's add another level of complexity to it. You have all these new sources. We were talking about unstructured, streaming data, geosensing data. Every time you carry your mobile phone, every second you are producing a geocentric data, right? Giving you a location. When you use your apps, it gives you what are we using that app for. It's like every second we are producing. We ourselves are like living data factories, right? Producing data all the time, every time. Now, the traditional approaches are under big pressure. They are under big pressure to handle all of this. They were never designed or they were never expected to handle this kind of information. So what do we do? Where do we go from here? So over time, the industry has evolving into a concept known as modern data platform, right? Which we say a data platform or an analytics platform which is built for anyone who uses data. Today, the consumer's data is not limited to technologists like you and me. Our parents use that information, our business managers use that information, our field sales force people use that information, our shop floor mechanics use this information, right? Data scientists, data engineers, data admins, whatnot. So the roles of people who are using this information, this data has evolved dramatically as the data has become available. So the platform should be serving everyone. We are trying to democratize the use of data in our world. single platform for any use case. Use cases could be very simple, right? Today, you all registered for this event, right? We want to kind of analyze that information, who came, who was engaged, who wanted to talk to us, so on and so forth, right? That's a use case. It's very simple, can be solved in Excel. Use case could be complicated. Oh, you know what, you just passed by a Starbucks. Can I use your geosensor data and say, you know what, Starbucks is giving a 20% discount on your favorite coffee. Would you like to grab one? That's a complicated use case. I use the geo data, I use your past preference purchase data, I connect it to a specialized offer built for you. Pretty complicated, right? So from simple to complicated, this platform should be able to serve needs of every data user. And then all of this is possible only if it's built on a strong technology backbone, which can handle all this kind of data, structured, unstructured, streaming. And today, to be able to store, manage, process this data, it's practically impossible to build on an on-premise system. How many servers would you set up? The rooms would get full, alright, you just cannot do it. Cloud is the answer. Where we use a shared infrastructure across this world, across the entities in this world, to make the best use of, most optimized use of available data infrastructure. So as we think about modern data platforms, the platforms of today, of tomorrow, possibly it will evolve into something which is going to be very different in a couple of years from now. But we're talking about modern data systems. But I think one question which we keep on hearing most of the times from our clients, we internally keep on arguing among ourselves, millions and billions of dollars, money, investment has gone into building your current infrastructure. So is it like all trash? Should it just be dumped out? I think the answer is no, because progress for us means building upon and not leaving behind what has already been built. So you have to use your existing data, traditional data or whatever data infrastructure as of today, data technologies of today, and build on top of it, build along with it, augment with it. So you have to kind of complement it and not supplement it. Because while they are new data sources, the traditional ones are not going anywhere. They're still very much there. They're still as valuable as any new data coming in our hands. Hence, we just cannot do away with what we have, right? We have to build on top of it. So this picture you see as a metaphor is Manhattan. Manhattan of yesteryears and Manhattan of today. The foundation of Manhattan was not laid in 1990, it was laid in probably 1960s, 1950s, right? And we kept on building on top of it. Today, it's a symbol for progress, symbol for today, future, as it stands today. And that's the philosophy we want to use, or at least we recommend to use when we're building our modern data infrastructure. So let's relook at what this modern data platform should do. The modern data platform requires to be building on existing infrastructure and augmenting new capabilities to what we already have. Store once and accesses many different ways. Ways depending on what you want to use it for. Ways depending on how you want to leverage this data today to make an impact to your life, to the life of your customers, to the life of your peers, to the life of anyone and everyone who has access to this information. And finally, the modern data platform should be a multimodal model which will allow for agile innovation. Today, we cannot imagine what we'll need tomorrow, but we have to build the foundation to achieve what we need tomorrow. And hence, we look at agile innovation, how to set up a foundation on top of which we can keep on adding new and new technologies, new and new business use cases, new and new humane use cases, customer use cases, operational use cases, and so on and so forth. So let's revisit, what we have today. So we have traditional data sources, right? We are pretty much managing through enterprise data warehouses, through complex RDBMS systems, and doing a lot of reporting, performance reporting, visualization. So what are the users? Within an organization, it's the business user, the end user. It could be a field rep, it could be a production manager, it could be a shop floor manager, it could be a marketing, a sales guy who's looking at information and to see, oh, this is what I've been doing, this is how it's been performing, so on and so forth. Right? Works well so far. People are deriving a lot of value out of it. Right? Now let's add one level of complexity. Right? Suddenly we have this new set of data sources. Now, the challenge here is twofold. Number one is we don't know what it has. We don't know what it tells. And number two, how do we use it? Suddenly, everything which was working fine today is no more working fine for us. And then you add another level of complexity, right, in terms of use cases, in terms of different users. You throw into the mix data analysts, data scientists, and business users who want to derive more and more insights, prediction as I was talking about from this data. Suddenly you need capabilities to discover what this data has, capabilities to develop advanced analytics and machine learning engines, and for the data to be available to data scientists, data analysts who would derive more and more future-looking, meaningful insights out of it. You cannot keep on creating new systems for everyone, right? Data governance, data quality. Remember the data quality challenge we have? We'll keep on multiplying as we do that. Hence, we're talking about store once and make it available for everyone depending on how they want to use it. And let's add another level of complexity. Ever-evolving need of the businesses, right? Remember the second challenge we talked about, the expectations from businesses. Right? Business users will have evolving needs. What works today will not work tomorrow. What works tomorrow will not work in future. So these use cases will need to be evolving. Today we don't know what we need tomorrow. So we should have the right capability, right infrastructure, right skill set to be able to build that. And hence, your advanced analytics and machine learning hubs should be able to provide and embed that intelligence in every business and customer-centric process which we have. And this is not a one big bang implementation. It will keep on going in an agile manner over a bit of time. We'll keep on developing these capabilities, augmenting these capabilities. Today, what works for us, possibly the same use cases, will have to apply new techniques to them, which are more sophisticated in nature, can use this new age data. And hence, this modern data platform should be designed in a manner that it's able to fulfill the demands, fulfill the potential which lies in these new data sources, new techniques, and the new use cases. That's all I had for today. Feel free to ask any questions, any comments, thoughts, your experiences. Anyone? Did I put you to sleep? No questions? That makes my job easy. Should go. Okay, thank you so much for patiently listening to me. Feel free to interact with me or ask questions, possibly during the break or any time after the event. Email ID, everything. Happy to collaborate and interact with you guys. Thank you so much.
So how many of you have, let's say, less than 3 years of experience in analytics and data science? Okay, 3 to 8 years? More than 8 years? Okay. What about other people? Okay. So My question to people who have more than 3 years of experience in analytics and data science. If I were to ask you a question 3 years back, that there would be a machine which can classify images with, let's say, more than 95% of accuracy, or more than the accuracy of a human eye. Would you have seen that coming? How many people think yes? 3 years back. Anyone who thinks or who thought 3 years back that this would be possible? How many of you wouldn't have seen that coming? Wow. Okay. So the reason why I was asking that was basically Weber mentioned in the initial talk that we as humans are good at making predictions. Progress about AI and machine learning and cognitive sciences is one of the areas where we end up underestimating the kind of progress which is going on. Right? So if you would have asked me 3 years back that do I see a machine like that, my answer would have been no. Right? And then that's the key takeaway which I would want to kind of communicate by end of this session, that we are in a revolution, we are in a change which is happening around us. But even after all our experience, all our intelligence, we end up tending to underestimate the changes which are happening. So I think parts of what has been said is alluding to what data science is. So basically, data science is a overarching term which gets used to identify any scientific process or any logical process using which we make sense out of data, right? So it could be jumbled up, and then, as you all know, as mentioned by Weber as well before, that 98% of the data today is probably not getting used in the best manner, right? And that's what is driving the need for data scientists, need for having more automated processes. So the data flow is obviously increasing. More and more data is coming into the system. Predictive modeling was a process or a term which was used probably some time back. It still gets used, not that it isn't used. But when we say that someone is doing predictive modeling, typically it's the person who is going through the data, understanding the insights, and then coming out with a model which can predict things, right? So there is an active human involvement in the entire process. On the other hand, if you're trying to build an algorithm or a machine which learns the process by itself, that's machine learning. So in some sense, machine learning is automating predictive modeling to some degree. It can't happen always, but that's the idea. Right, so both of them fall under the paradigm of data science, but data science is a much bigger term. It includes data engineering, it includes data visualization, it includes what cleaning you need to do in the data before it becomes usable. Right, and there are a few trends which I'm sure you would have seen at other places as well. But broadly, there are three forces which are driving this shift of becoming a more data science savvy world. Right? So the amount of data which is getting generated is increasing exponentially or even more faster. We all are carrying smartphones which are continuously emanating data. I, as a user, try and restrict the data which goes out of my smartphone, but still both Google and Apple are able to figure out a lot of things about me. So there are various applications, various use cases of data being used directly. So that's one force. The second is, now that this data is getting generated, you can store it cheaply, and you can run operations or computations on them on cloud in a fraction of cost compared to what it used to cost a few years back. Right? So combined, when you look at these three forces, that's what is driving data science today. That's what is driving the progress of the attention which the domain is seeing. And to the extent that it has reached the stage where it has started surprising people, and this is an incident which happened to me a few years back. So at that time, how many of you have used the application called Google Now? Okay, so Google Now is basically a small application which can reside on any smartphone, any Android smartphone or Apple store. What it does is it looks at your travel patterns, it looks at what you are reading, what you are searching, and based on that it starts throwing out recommendations, very, very seamless, right? So the first time, so this was now close to 4 years back actually, so I bought a new smartphone, and there was this application Google Now. So I started it, it looked like a very simple search interface. So I thought, okay, maybe Google is doing some kind of rebranding for its search. So I started the application once, and what happened was it kept running in the background. I didn't realize it at that time. 7 days after I had started the application, I get a notification on my mobile screen saying you're 20 minutes away from your home. Right? I never told Google where my home was, where my office was, or what my commuting pattern was. Right? So even as a person working in this industry, even though I was doing this day in and day out for our customers, when this notification came to me for the first time, I was surprised. Right? And that's what is happening through across all the domains which we see. So the kind of progress which is being done by machines, the kind of progress which is happening in machine learning is fascinating. It's scary to some degree as well. And I just wanted to bring out a few examples of how the world is changing, and then we'll come back to the question about how what it means for the future. Yeah.
On cloud computing. So do they go hand in hand? I mean, we talk data science, not cloud computing.
Right. So basically the reason why I mentioned cloud computing was it has made running computations accessible. So just to give you some context why I write that. So back in 2010 when I came back to India and joined one of the insurance companies, we were setting up an analytics team. In order to set up the infrastructure, we had to invest in getting a server, getting a hardware, and that hardware was, done with a very specific purpose that it could build customer level prediction models. Right? A year down the line, we wanted to build models based for viewers and studying their behavior, and that architecture could not support. So if we had to build that model, we had an option of either investing into the new infrastructure, which was again a significant cost. And at that time we said that, okay, we'll park it for that time. On the other end, what cloud enables you to do is, as an end user, even in my individual capacity, I can go on to AWS, spin up a new machine for a few dollars an hour and then run my computations. So the barrier to run computations for even a simple end user has gone down drastically because of cloud computing. So that's the reason why I mentioned that this is one of the reasons why you see so much attention coming to data science. Otherwise, there were huge upfront costs which people or companies had to bear before they could see benefits coming out of data science. Right? So as I was saying, what I wanted to do was bring out a few examples of how the world is changing, and then towards the end, leave you with the thought that what's coming up. So what you see here is, on your left-hand side, on the left-hand side of the screen, you see how traditionally recruitment was being done, right? So if there was a vacancy, it still gets done in this fashion to some degree. That if there is a vacancy in a company, you would call up a consultant, ask them to find the right talent, and then the consultant will in turn go out, look in their databases, do their own mapping, find the right talent, and start doing those conversations. There are companies out there who have mapped social media profiles of people, who have mapped various data which you release, various places from which you could find profiles of people. And this is not just LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter. It includes, for example, technical forums like Stack Overflow, Analytics Vidya. So at any place where you could find meaningful information about a user, these companies have mapped that out, joined them to various information, so they've joined various sources. In basis that they've created a profile which can tell what that person is, what are the skill sets of the person, and that in turn can be used to do the recruitment. So as a recruiter, as a customer to this product, I have to go there, upload my JD, and in a matter of few minutes, I'll start getting very, very qualified recommendations about who are the right people for that job. Right? So an entire industry where there is an army of consultants doing recruitment for various companies is getting replaced by machines which can do that in almost real time. Right? I'm sure you would have seen this example. So Amazon came out with a store concept where you don't need to go through a checkout process necessarily. So you walk into a store, you pick up what you want, and you walk out. Right? So they are using various technologies like image processing, video feed surveillance, connected devices to monitor when a customer walks in, what is their account, how do they get charged, and the minute you walk out of the store, you get charged on your Amazon account. Right? No more check-ins, no more lines. The entire, and then post that they've gone out and bought a huge offline chain, supermarket chain. So clearly there is a plan which Amazon is on to, which again disrupts the entire retail industry, to say the least. What do you think this is about? Any guesses? Correct. So there is a product from Microsoft called Seeing AI. It's again a mobile application. So you can download that application. What it does is it looks at through your camera, and whatever you point your camera at, it will tell out what you are looking at. What it does is, for a visually impaired person, it becomes a way to navigate through the world. Right? So you don't need someone to be with you all the time. You can use that navigation, and it's working pretty accurately. Still not there completely, but definitely a lot of help for people who are in that position. Right. So and I can go on to talk about more and more examples, more and more use cases. But what I wanted to show is any industry you think of, any domain you can think of is getting disrupted, and it's getting disrupted because of analytics and data science at the heart of this change. Right. So a quick question. So can you think of a job or a role which machines cannot do in, let's say, 5 years or 10 years from now? Or let me start the other way. So is there a job you think machines will never be able to do? Yeah?
Cannot understand the human emotion.
Cannot?
Understand the human emotions.
Cannot understand human emotions, okay? Yeah?
Implement machine learning algorithms.
Implement machine learning algorithms. Anything else?
Cannot roll back a decision.
Cannot roll back a decision, okay?
Designers?
Sorry?
Creative designer?
Creative designer.
Innovation.
Sorry?
Innovation.
Innovation. So, I mean, innovation is a very broad term. But all the examples which people have told before that are areas where machines are already doing those jobs. Right? So there are platforms where you can just feed in data and they implement the entire machine learning flows for you. There are algorithms which can create paintings for you at a fraction of cost of what the designers will do. There is a startup coming out of Silicon Valley which essentially generates entire UI UX of websites through machines. So what they've done is they've taken UI UX across various websites as the input, trained their model to see what works, what doesn't, and then given an output of what are some of the best designs for websites. Right, and that's what I meant that as humans we end up underestimating the progress which is happening. And then again to just re-emphasize, do you think machines can write? Yes, no? Yes. How many of you agree machines can write? Yeah. How many of you think machines can't write? No one? Wow. Well, honestly, we are not there yet. So here are two sonnets. One of them is created by a human, another one is by a machine. Which one do you think is from a machine?
Right.
Right one? How many of you think it's the right one? Left one? Right. So it's becoming hard to distinguish, right? So the right answer is the right one. So sonnet 2 was created by a machine. If you actually look at the words, at points they stop making sense. But machines are becoming more intelligent, right? Over time, as it sees more and more data, you'll see that they'll become more accurate. Right? I'll play two clips. One of them is again by a machine, and another one is by a human. Is the audio working? One of them is by a machine, the another one is by Bach, one of the famous musicians. Can you distinguish which one was from Bach and which one was from a machine? Last one was by a machine or by a
Machine.
Okay. So how many of you think is the second one? How many of you think is the first one? First one. Right, so again, as you can see, it's very difficult to find out. Machines are becoming more accurate. What is missing right now is so they can replicate what is happening. So it needs a lot of input in terms of what is already out there. So while it can imitate or it can copy what is out there, machines still can't reach or create things as quickly, right? But once they understand what is happening, it's a matter of creating enough data to find out what are the trends, right? Any idea about how many bots are active on Twitter? Any guess? Any wild guess? Thousands? How many? Around a million?
Millions.
Billions? All the users are bots. So there were 48 million bots on Twitter in March 2016. Right, more than 7% of users of Twitter were bots. And then again, when you look at Twitter, it's very difficult to distinguish whether it's the tweets are being done by a bot or by a person, right? And that, what I discussed is only the number on Twitter. You can start combining other social media posts and the number obviously increases, right? So are we ready for a world where machines start becoming more and more active, start giving us feed on day-to-day things which are happening? So how do you distinguish between fake news versus real news? It's an active research problem out there. There are a few companies who are actually using this power of social media through bots to create news or to create media coverage which may or may not be true, right? So there are, as we progress, there would be new and new challenges which will come up in the domain. There would be areas which we would not have thought about. There would be, the progress is happening much faster than what any of us in the room would have thought about. And then the trend is going to continue. If anything, it would only accelerate, right? Having said that, thankfully today, at least where we are standing, machines are still not there. Most of the work which is happening in the domain or where we see these examples are based on supervised learning, which essentially means that you have to tell machines what is right or what is wrong. You have to train them on labeled data sets. So for example, I fed all the data about the music to create that machine. It needs that input today. Whereas if you think about human mind, it works a lot more on unstructured data. So just to give you an analogy, a human child before the child starts speaking sees close to 2.5 million images, and the mind, even at that early stage, starts recognizing pattern. It starts recognizing who is mom, who is dad, who is whose family, who is not family, right? And then all of that happens on unstructured data, right? There might be some cues in the data, but the pattern being recognized by the brain are mindful. So we are long way away from creating a brain, or long way away from creating a human level intelligent machine. We will need at least a few more innovations, like there is a big barrier about how do you go about doing unsupervised learning. How do you go about doing reinforcement learning, which is more in the future. But we need at least a few more innovations like that. We'll need revolutions like deep learning before we are at a stage where we create human level intelligence. But it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of how many years or how many decades will it take to reach there. Until unless humanity comes to see that this is bound to happen. Right? And then the view about how long will it take is obviously a topic of debate, but the most optimistic people feel that by 2025 we'll have machines which will have intelligence equivalent to human. The most pessimistic people believe that it would be 2070 or 2075, right? So in our lifetime we'll see machines which have intelligence equal to us, at least going by the experts. My view is that we'll see that, but obviously it's up for debate. This is what people see in singularity is essentially a point where machines become smarter than humans. And then as you can see, the trend is exponential in nature. We had it in 2017. The projection, as I said, depending on what view you believe, can start between 2025 to 2075. Right? And then before we hit that point, I think there is a lot of work we need to do. And that's why you see a lot of attention in the domain, a lot of activity happening in the domain. So with that, I'll like to conclude this session. So the next few sessions you'll see talk about some of the areas which I mentioned, like reinforcement learning, transfer learning, and then how they are kind of making a difference in the way we use data. But before doing that, just the concluding thought is the world is changing faster than what we are used to, and data science is at the heart of this change. Right? That's what I wanted to share. If there are any questions, happy to take them. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, hi Kunal, great session. Just wanted to know, in case you are aware of any tool technique to differentiate human-generated content and machine-generated content on social media, any available tool technique, something like that?
So there are a few algorithms which have been trained. So it's basically like a contest going on between people who are creating machine, so content which is created by machine, and then there is other group which is trying to detect that, right? So there is a research group based in Stanford, which is doing very active research on it. So the same group which started Stanford NLP library. So you can look at their offering. But it's a very active area of research, and it's basically a contest, right? So things evolve as you go through that contest. So if machines block one particular kind of content coming through, they'll start changing that. So it's an open area of research. The best I can say is go and refer to some of the papers which are being published, and you can implement them in that.
So can we see machine replacing the work of data science?
So I think things would start getting automated. So as I said, there are platforms which can do a lot of things which we do today. So today, basically the way I see it is we are in phase 1 of data science, moving into phase 2, where a lot of work which is being done is done by humans. So we collect data, we clean data, we remove outliers to start with, right? Over time, all of these things can start getting automated, and we'll use our judgment to say whether what the machine has done is right or wrong. So there would be things which will get automated, and the work of data scientists would continue to evolve. So it's not, I don't see a risk of complete automation, at least in the next 10 odd years. But as I said, it will happen, and then your role as a human would evolve into putting judgments using your human knowledge or emotions or idea about what the consumer would feel like as a layer over and above that. Yeah, I think I'll just take one last question.
So, it's a very basic question. So for a graduate like me who just entered, who wants to enter into analytics,
Yeah.
could you like, how do I come to know that I have those analytics skills or not? Like I'm fit for this career path or not?
Sure. So I think we'll touch upon that as part of panel discussion later. But basically, you need 3 kind of skills: technical skills, soft skills, and domain-specific skills. Technical skills being, taking unstructured problems and then putting it in a way that data can be used to solve it. Soft skills means, once you have found out something, you need to share it with people, you need to tell what the story is. And then the domain knowledge is basically, having idea about what is the problem, how do you solve it, why are we doing things in a particular manner. So we'll touch that question, I think, later in one of the discussions as well. And I'm happy to answer any specific questions with that. Those are the skills you will need. Thank you.
Can I make a comment on that?
Sure.
This is Ashish. Sorry. Just got into that question you had. I think as long as you're smart, you can learn this. There is no rocket science in this. Everyone is learning these skill sets. We learned it while we were on the job. Today, at least, we have institutions and we have content and trainings available which will make you learn all this pretty quickly and pretty easily. And I think now the analytics related trainings are much more easier to come by, and as long as you have the passion for it, there's nothing stopping you.
Yeah. In fact, just to add, so for example, first time when I came across a multi-class classification problem, I had to go and read a research paper. Today there are courses out there on Coursera, edX, Udacity, multiple of them. You can get that content very easily. Even the latest ones. Right. So thanks everyone, and hope you found the session useful.
Thank you, Kunal. That was an interactive session. I could see that some of you still had some open questions. We can potentially take them later during the day. So we will be having a short break, couple of minutes from now. So feel free to catch hold of Kunal. Now you know how he looks like. Just catch hold of him. And of course, towards the end of the day. Yeah. One more question before I let you guys take that much-deserved break. So here's the question, and there's a prize for it. So listen carefully. Is there anyone here who can arrange the following in order of increasing complexity? Predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics, descriptive analytics, and cognitive analytics.
Yeah, first is predictive analytics.
Sorry, I can't, actually the slide is blinding me, so somebody needs to raise a hand.
Yeah, table 18.
Table 18 back here.
Okay.
First is the predictive analytics, descriptive analytics. Second is predictive analytics.
Hang on, which tag are you wearing? I can see from here.
Yellow tag.
Thank you. I saw that tag confidently. So anybody in a red tag? I saw the gentleman here with the hand first, yeah?
First is predictive analytics, second is predictive, third prescriptive, fourth cognitive.
I don't think so. Yeah. And you need to be a bit more loud. Get a mic if you don't have one, sir. Yeah. Can you get a mic, please?
We have descriptive, predictive, prescriptive, cognitive.
I think that's right. Yeah? Good. Thank you. Hi everyone. Welcome back. Okay. Do we need a circle of coffee to wake everyone up? Oh, good. Thank you. Alright, so we have spoken about the current state of data science, but some of you might agree that the organizations are not getting the full business value from the new insights being discovered each day. Operationalizing analytics is perhaps a solution to this problem. I shall now hand over the mic to my fellow colleague, Ruby Kapoor, who will stand in as the moderator for our panel discussion. Ruby is a director of marketing at Nagaro. In her decade-and-a-half-long career, Ruby has held various roles in technology companies. She, however, prefers to think of herself as somewhat of a linguist who fights the urge to learn a new language every few years. Thank you.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Great. Let's have the others then. Nice, come. So you know most of them, right? Two of them you already met. Third one is going to come up right after this panel discussion. And we have two other people who are joining us via satellite. So let me start by introducing them, because one of them has made it all the way from Canada early in the morning at 5:30, and the other one is sitting in Norway. So I'll start with the introduction of Nikolai, who is on your right side, which is saying hi, I think. And he has some 14 years of experience in developing business intelligence, data warehouse solutions as an architect and as a developer, with extensive experience in logistics, telecom, and public sectors. And he's also an avid Wikipedia contributor for the past 13 years, it seems. He has 4 kids and a wonderful wife who seem to take up rest of his spare time. Okay, so the next panelist, like right next to him, is Professor Ole Christopher Ranamo. It's a difficult name, I'm sorry. Works as a director in the Center of Artificial Intelligence Research, in short CAIR, and he's also the co-founder of ANSYS Technology. He's, like I said, joining from Canada today, early in the morning. The other 3 you already met, like I said, are about to meet, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time introducing them. Kunal, we just met him. He is the founder and CEO of Analytics Vidya. Ashish, he did the first session with you guys. He is handling handling all of our digital strategy and also our big data and analytics domains. He's the senior director in Nagarro. And you will meet Kamal in a while. He is handling the big data and analytics COE. He is the director of technology at Nagarro. So, without wasting any more time, let's get to the point and let's get to our topic. Our topic today is operationalizing data and analytics in an enterprise. Operationalizing analytics, what do we really mean by it? If you go by the textbook definition, it's really focusing on the integration of analytics into business units in order to take specific action on insights. So that's the textbook definition. What we're going to try and do is scratch the surface with these panelists, try and understand what it actually means and how we can find out some real-world scenarios, some use cases, some interesting thoughts from all 5 of them. So starting with the first question, which is open to all the panelists. Guys, tell me, what are the top analytics use cases that you see getting popular in the industry today? And this is open to all, so now why don't I start with you?
Thanks, Vivi. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So as I touched briefly in my talk as well, any domain you can think of today is being touched, impacted, or disrupted by data science, depending on what maturity it is at. A couple of underlying themes which I see through the domains. Where data science is changing the game entirely. So one of them is basically personalization, right? So we have been in a world where the same information was being broadcasted to everyone out there. Good analogy is look at the way blogs were set up traditionally. So anyone who sees the same content. That is moving to personalization. So people are getting more and more specific media according to them, starting from Google to Facebook to LinkedIn. The feed which you have is personalized. So that's one underlying trend which gets emphasized and addressed through use of data science.
And as somebody mentioned, that's also, I included in your presentation, that's also a little scary at times.
It is, definitely.
So personalization, like you say, is one of the major trends. What about you, Kamal? Do you agree with Kunal, and what do you think? Anything else that you think is a trend?
Yeah, I would. So I agree with what Kunal said, that personalization is one of the driving forces where analytics is being used. Apart from that, I see there are 3 different pillars where analytics is primarily being used. So they stand as customer, where where you are building analytics to understand your customer in a better way, to build different types of metrics that covers your customer analytics part. And the second is the risk analytics. Basically how you are using your data to understand what kind of different risk that organization may have. And the third is the operational analytics, where you basically start understanding what kind of different types of operation that you have in your organization, and what kind of models that you can build to counter them and to build new kind of products.
So the three pillars, like you said, Ashish, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to look at it. So I think at the core of everything we're doing in analytics data science is how do we make our human lives better, right? Let's talk about a little bit about healthcare, right? The medical devices, the wearables we have, our medical information, all of this is now being synthesized to create better treatment protocols, create better ways of treating diseases, leading a healthier lifestyle, helping us lead a healthier lifestyle. And then it doesn't stop there, right? I mean, you move on to banking, you move on to any other vertical kind of industry. So at the end of the day, I think, in my opinion, the way data science is being used is augmenting or helping us lead better, healthier, wealthier, and more purposeful lives.
Aspect of our lives, exactly. So Nikolai, your thoughts are the same.
Yes, I agree with the development of strong the German, that's probably fine. Then I agree with talk about it, because you see that the IoT that is exploding, and this is that is part of this. I can see two other things that is very important in this area. It's embedded design. When I have a process, of course, data embedded by content in a process application. And the second thing is external deployment. External customer or one citizen in the public sector. These two things I think is very important in this area. That can be popular in this industry.
Okay, thanks Nikolai. Christopher, your thoughts?
Yes, I would like to emphasize the optimization of business processes. One example is the energy industry, where the energy production actually is optimized today through advanced additional intelligence techniques. Another example is the health sector, where we see sophisticated systems for instance, analysis of electronic health records. So it's lots of things going on today in this area.
Thank you. So energy, healthcare, banking, everything, every domain is touched. Any ideas that our audience would like to share? Any use cases, any scenarios that they feel are pretty true, if they agree or disagree with the panelists here? Anybody would like to, talk here? We're opening it to the audience. Okay. So if you'd like to hear our panelists more, then I'd go back to them. So next question really. What are the typical stages of maturity that an organization would generally go through before they truly become an analytics-driven organization? Kamal, what do you think about it?
Basically, in my experience, if I have to put it into a different layered architecture, so I see there are four maturity layers that an organization typically goes through. The foundation of it is technology layer, which basically helps defining the kind of solution that an organization would like to build. It helps them to build a solution, build a technology architecture that can meet the current requirements, as well as is ready to meet the future requirements, to where they can store all different types of data and can support all different types of analytics. Once they have the right technology infrastructure set up, which is the core foundation, The second thing is to get into a phase where you start understanding your data. Based on my conversation with different clients, there's always a question that we have data, but they're not really sure but how much data they have and what value that data they can use for. So the second stage, start building a self-servicing layer on top of your technology infrastructure, where you can have so much more reports that can, help you take some informed decisions, which we call as a descriptive layer. Once you have put a descriptive layer in place, it basically gives you an understanding, the completeness of your data, whatever data that you might need to, store or, aggregate to get to the next level, which is the predictive layer, where you start asking questions, what can we do to achieve this target, or what can we do to build our products in a better way. So that's the third layer, where you start building the predictive models, and the fourth layer is where your organization in total has got a very good understanding of data. You already have championed some of the advanced predictive machine learning models, and the third is where you are ready to start getting into the advanced machine learning use cases, define different POCs to solve very specific novel use cases.
Now that we have the maturity model defined, why don't we start talking about some of the implementation experiences that our experts have had? So, Nikolai, this is a question for you. Can you talk about some implementation experiences that you've had, some customer experience which would be of interest to our audience?
Yes, I can talk about the one successful implementation that we have around a couple of years ago. They have a big challenge, I call it. The business needs for our organization was faced they need to get a better view of all the data produced by application users over a month. The application produced a massive stream of data each day, millions of rows, and the current data warehouse that we have implemented didn't manage to handle that kind of data each day. We would like to do analysis on these raw data on a time span of 1 month and not a billion of rows. We have a requirement of that it should be updated on a hourly basis so that we may have a time analysis on it. To solve this big data challenge, it was not possible to use traditional databases like Postgres, MySQL, or those you probably have the wrong methods, the cost was prohibitive, so that was not an option. And we have already a Postgres running data warehouse. And we have come up with a solution that used Amazon S3 and cheap storage and hard injection into the processing platform. And here we choose Redshift to store our process, all the needs. As you know, Redshift is a massive power processing database. The common database principles. To orchestrate all this, we use and do a basic analytics, use big data integration and distance analytics platform and power source setup. We want to do approximating and have looked at this setting, but that was closed down due to main scale resources in knowledge, you have to use transferring. And it was still a costly to run all the time because they were more able to handle it. But I ended up using this big data solution from Redshift. One big benefit of using S3 and Redshift was a customer new ad hoc analytics of billions of rows, many hundreds of problems, with very short response time. So they are able to what contribution today, probably we look at not this question, because they are not so much making it easier to use the CEO directly on the Cloudera or admin layer. So what we do later is other questions. So it was at least we managed to solve the problem by using Amazon. Quite good. So I hope that we come to this insight into the customer experience.
Yeah, thanks, Nicola. That's a good example. Any one of you would like to add your implementation experiences?
Sure, I can take that. I think the use cases and the way organizations are leveraging analytics varies a lot in terms of different kinds of use cases. While on one end, there's a very business-centric, analytics kind of work, whereas on the other end, very technology-centric, and somewhere I think kind of both of them kind of come together. I can take an example for one of the recent implementations or analytics-related implementations we've done in the past, right? This is for a healthcare company cost, and they wanted to kind of gather patient data in terms of different kinds of medications they are taking from different sources and so on and so forth. Bring it together. Now, one of the challenges we always see when we're talking about personal data is security, right? So how do we make sure that the data is available, integrated, so we know, pick up a particular patient and say, you know what, this patient has had these kind of diagnoses, these kind of diseases, these kind of drugs have been taking, and these are different outcomes of that. At the same time, not being able to say that this is for Vicky, this is for Ashish, and this is for XYZ, right? So I think security, ability to integrate and then have most parallel level information becomes a fine balancing act in most cases than not. And then on top of it, having this infrastructure on the cloud, making sure it's secure and all serving on traditional level of challenges. So I think once we achieve that, then you are basically sitting on a lot of, that is gold mine of data, right? Where you have information about a particular patient or a particular event over a period of time, and then you can analyze the impact of different environmental conditions and how they would make an impact, and make judgment and make smart decisions about it.
Making smart decisions, that's true. Ashish, will keep with you. In your earlier sessions, we talked about modern data platforms. What are the typical challenges that an organization would face in successfully implementing a data platform, a modern data platform, as you said?
I think the challenges are a lot, but I think there are 2 or 3 key things, key elements which organizations falter upon, right? A lot of times we hear clients saying, you know what, I want to bring all my data together and then we'll see what to do, right? I think that's a wrong premise to start with. At least in my opinion, the way I've seen these initiatives getting successfully implemented is you have to start with the end objective in your mind. While today it might not be possible to have all the business use cases defined, but to be able to succeed, or at least demonstrate to your organization that there is value, you have to start with some use cases which you want to implement and then take it to your end users. So, in my opinion, a use case or business problem comes first, then we should talk about technology. Today, a lot of organizations say, you know what, we want to get into big data, let's set up a Hadoop infrastructure. What they want to do with that, most of the activities are not able to answer. And I think that's the first pitfall. Second pitfall is analytics, algorithms, tools, techniques, everything is good, right? You create the most sophisticated analytical process and you have the best, insights out of it. But are the end users really using it? Is there an adoption? So think about a guy who's selling credit cards and calling you up, trying to sell credit cards. That's the person who's supposed to use that information and insights to make a smarter decision. Is that person really using it? right? So I think that's the most ignored aspect about any analytical implementation which organizations falter upon is the adoption. Adoption for imbibing that as a DNA and as a process into day-to-day stuff. And then of course there are technological challenges, not denying that. Today if you want to do something to manage big data, there are hundreds if not thousands of tools and technologies available. It gets very confusing. Every few months we have a new set of tools coming up. So ability to make the right decision in terms of what tools are most suitable to your specific context is I think another critical challenge which most organizations face. I think that would summarize top three, and obviously the challenges are many more.
Yeah.
But I think these three were the ones which I feel are very critical.
Yeah, continue.
So I'd like to add to what Ashish just said, especially in terms of technology and where to start. So Ashish very well has described, sometimes a lot of overthinking happens, right? So everyone thinks that we just need to do an article because everyone is doing it and which is not backed up by the right strategy. And just going back to the technology thing, so a lot of time our customers ask us, do we really need to build a big data infrastructure? Do we really need to have also data scientists? So my 2 cents are not always. The first thing is to actually identify a use case that works with you, from which you can realize some value. And to do that, you don't really need very sophisticated infrastructure in place, but the idea is to start small and build on top of that. And as you keep becoming more advanced, you can keep adding new infrastructure and new technologies to it, which should also be adopted considering the kind of people that we have, considering how much you would like to grow, and what could be your comfort area in terms of vendors or the technology solutions.
So we talked about tools and technology. Well, do you want to add anything? Go ahead.
So I was just saying that, along with starting small, it becomes very critical to, bring in all kinds of data sources for our organization. So for example, you start with one data source, prove your analytics use case, start bringing in more diverse or unstructured data sets over time. So you have to kind of keep the strategy evolving. So you can start small, but as you progress, you have to kind of keep evolving and bring in more data sets, diverse set of data sets, which is again a hectic challenge.
True. So we talked about tools, technology. There is obviously a vast technology landscape that you deal with, a huge technology stack that you deal with. Then you guys have mentioned, it's not always about the tools. It's about the use case and so many other things. So let's also bring in the aspect of various other areas when it comes to mainstreaming. And what about AI as being a topic of research, and how do we see it being democratized? I'm going to take that to Christopher, who's been very quiet. So Christopher, what do you think? How would AI fit into the whole puzzle?
So that is a very important question. There is a revolution in artificial intelligence research going on now. And today I would say that ownership of information translates to power. In the future, ownership of AI will become an even more crucial factor. And when it becomes crucial to democratize AI to combat the dominance by the big, huge companies. And academia has a big responsibility here. As head of the first research on artificial intelligence in Norway, I take this responsibility very seriously. And the main thing is to freely share knowledge and know. Taking advantage of AI requires a lot of expertise. And so research and results should be published in open archives, not be on the tables. That's very important. And there's a lot of effort going on to make online tutorials, to make very important to share code in our repositories openly. There is a lot of good initiatives there already, and this has to be strengthened. And the other goal should be to make the power of artificial intelligence available to all, and provide value to both the private and public sector. So this is one of the main goals of the research center ahead, and we put a lot of effort into this. So democratizing AI is crucial in my opinion.
Thoughts from your end? Anybody else who has thoughts on the same? The most appropriate person to have that. Okay, so let's just move on to the next part. How would you leverage deep learning on that? Because that's also the other buzzword these days. And Christopher, if you would want to take that as well.
Okay, so deep learning is very important part of the revolution going on. Before it was extremely challenging to build machine learning systems. You require a lot of multidisciplinary knowledge, signal processing, modeling, and so on. So you have to build this very complex stack involving a lot of experts. So the revolution is simply not that you can actually make the machine do this job through machine learning from data. And the surprising thing is that when you leave the whole thing to the computer, the performance becomes much better than the previous classical techniques. So building these deep neural networks modeling the brain allows you to actually go from raw data to directly to the task you want to solve. So we have end-to-end learning, and everything that happens between signal processing, feature extraction, prediction, and so on happens based on the machine learning or done. So for those with data, this is a huge opportunity because we can actually make disruptive applications based on machine learning. And this has disrupted a lot of sectors. For instance, in the military industry, the traditional companies are not struggling because new startups that master this new technology actually outperforms the old companies. So it requires completely new set of skills. It requires mastering of the whole suite of new network techniques. And those skills are now very valuable, very attractive, and so we need keeping those skills for the future.
And just to add to that, so one of the challenges which comes in operationalizing deep learning, and I think corporates need to kind of understand that not every problem can be solved through deep learning. So there will be some set of problems where deep learning is very successful. So image recognition, for example, or voice recognition. So these kind of problems get solved very effectively through deep learning. But there would be set of problems where deep learning won't be as successful. So for example, if you are building a credit risk scorecard, you can't say to your customer that I don't know why I'm declining a particular credit. So while operationalizing, you need to understand whether deep learning can be applied or not, or it's the right algorithm. But if it can, then it's a very powerful thing. So that's something which companies need to keep.
So not a panacea to all problems is what you're saying. Okay. So
I would like to thank you for that. In the health sector, for instance, that is making decisions support systems. It's very important to have not a black box, but completely open reasoning distance. So actually the models and things today are not able to cope properly. Here is a huge opportunity in the future where we can actually get much better models and results with deep learning.
Okay, thank you. So before we actually move to the last few questions, we would like to open the floor for some questions on what you've heard from these panel of experts. And like I said, we will have a few more follow-up questions, but if anybody has something right now, they can raise their hands. Could somebody get the mics to them? The two people raising their hands. Also tell us your name before you start and let us know who you were asking out of the panel.
Hey, my name is Varun. Question is really quite one can answer. I guess, like, in which industry vertical do you think AI and ML will gain the biggest traction in, let's say, like 3-4 years?
Okay, who would like to take this? Sure.
I think the answer depends on the horizon we're looking at, in some opinion. So AI and ML, I think the first and the most immediate horizon when we see next 5 to 6 or 10 years, right? I see manufacturing industry as the immediate industry where it expands. Now there's a reason for that, right? The risk of failure is possibly lesser in terms of no restored human lives in that space, right? And hence, manufacturing automation and AI in manufacturing will be the first to pick up. If you start taking a longer horizon, right, a little longer than that, possibly, transportation is going to be the next one. But the real holy grail of this is going to come in healthcare, right? When we could predict, diagnose diseases way before they get occur. I mean, today, from an AI standpoint or from a machine learning standpoint, we are working on things where, even before a person is born, we can find out what diseases he or she may have in future, and we're doing through genome sequencing and whatnot. So I think that to answer your question lies in the horizons we're looking at. So I feel, manufacturing and followed by transportation logistics and then followed by healthcare is what we will see.
So Ashish, you're taking us to minority for the precogs.
Oh yeah, jobs is around the corner.
Why not? Okay, I saw one more hand raised. We will take one more question right now and we'll come back if there's still time. So somewhere there is one more hand.
Yeah, my name is Dr. This is a question, this is our observation. In data science field, I hardly find the scientists involved. We have developers, but people don't look at the science or scientists, what does scientists do? He questions the fundamentals. Everywhere I meet people, they have technology tools and they move on. I mean, that is building up, that creates vigilance in my mind. I don't see anybody asking a fundamental question or questioning the foundation, And that's why I believe everything is happening in the environment, when we see innovation. And I'm surprised that I came to interact with all of you guys and I see nobody is asking a fundamental question. Nobody is willing to ask the question, I think organizations like yours, first thing you must hire a scientist or people with scientific development who rather question your foundation, your fundamentals. They will build a product. And unfortunately in data science, nobody is doing that. Or everybody is jumping to Spark, why? I look at the horizon, we have mainframe, then come to desktop, then cloud, and I know for sure the next level is computing. So why am I using cloud now? Why must not I wait for 3 years and maybe get for is computing? And for is computing, what I do with this data and collect books in our student days, hoping that somebody will read just before the exam and we will read that. So we keep collecting this data and we don't analyze them. We don't learn from them. We don't create knowledge of it. Why not create something that at the point of data creation we understand is the data valid or not? Like we as people we keep looking at, do we store all in our brain? No. We validate, filter them out quickly, reject. If anybody has read the book called Blink, we know that in a Blink what you can understand. You know exactly whether this is right or wrong. You don't need to look at a painting for hours to understand whether it's a fake or
So the question is, where have the questioners gone and where has scientists gone and from data science?
Data science.
Yeah.
And healthcare observation. Recently, Watson and IBM lost a contract of 40 million after 4 years couldn't deliver what they promised. They just recently lost a contract. So that scares me. Do I build my prescriptive model based on 77% confidence level? Do I recommend something to a patient where my deep learning, machine learning gives me 77% confidence? That's the question to ask. That scares me. So where do you go from this point?
Sure. So I will try and answer that. So I also agree that we today are more engineering focused than science focused, and then ideally it should be more science focused. And I think it's purely a function of the talent flowing in. So most of the people coming into the domain are more engineers than scientists, and we have not created an ecosystem to bring that curiosity, bring that questioning ability, and that's what needs to happen more. In fact, I referred to it in my talk as well that there are at least 2 to 3 breakthroughs of the kind of deep learning which needs to happen before we kind of talk about machines becoming equally intelligent. So completely on the same page. I think the ecosystem entirely has to evolve. Coming to the second part, that how do you bring that in, or how do organizations come in, or the scary part where how do you make decisions on 70% or 77%? So I think what I typically say is, what's your next best alternative, right? So if the machine is giving 77% accuracy and there is something which can be solved better through, let's say, human gut, at this point shifting it doesn't make sense. So you continue to make decisions based on the results. As things progress, I think there would be times where we'll get more confidence. There will be a testing period, I think, where we would test the technology in parallel to whatever is happening today. And once we get the comfort is when we move to it. So for example, in healthcare, would we move to systems even if they are 99% accurate? Probably no. We'll run it in parallel as an assistance unit first. And then only when we get that confidence is when I see we'll move to complete reliability. If we move, I'm not sure how to do it.
So this leads us to more or less our last question to the panelists. What are the key roles that are required in operationalizing analytics? And you people are very much into looking at people, the right people for the right jobs. So what are your suggestions? Anyone can take it, or you want to start?
I think we have covered most of the aspects of the challenges, and the opportunities as well.
Right.
If I have to summarize it in one line, so I think there are 3 key pillars that are required to make an analytics initiative successful. It's a combination of the right kind of technology, the right kind of business push, and the right kind of data science skills available. Unless until you don't have a mix of all 3, it's most likely that you might get weak on one of the aspect. For example, you might have a good strong technology team with a data scientist, but if there's no one buying that output of your project, then it might not see the light of the sun. Similarly, if you have a business running up, would like to have a narrative, but if you don't have even if you have a data scientist, you might be able to do 1 or 2 POCs, but you might not be able to build a system that can meet your future requirements. And the same goes with the data science as well.
I think that's a fair way to put it. Analytics or data analytics per se is a field which touches in an organization different aspects of organization, different people, right from the business decision makers to the technology side, as well as in our day-to-day life when we see products coming out, it covers different aspects of it. Hence, you need a multi-skilled team to be able to do that, and as Kamal put it, I look at it more from 4 key roles. You have to have a business domain experts, you have to have data sciences, and then you have to have technologists who are able to take all of that into systems which can be leveraged. Leverage on a mass scale which can be used by a large volume of people to help their cause. The cause could be for me to manage better health, for someone to have a better financial status or whatever, right? To be able to do that, I think you need to have multi-skilled team. And for any area to be successful, you have to have leadership line, right? It has to, analytics never flows bottoms up, it always flows top down. Your organizational leadership has to have a strong belief in its ability to transform their business models, transform the way they handle customers, transform the way it will impact the lives of people who are taking their products, and that's how it goes top down.
Okay, so I think the team is diverse as a panel here. Do we have time for a few questions, or you're supposed to close? Sorry, so we will close today with these set of questions. And if you have any questions for our panelists or for any other questions that you would generally like to ask, there will be maybe some time later after we finish the event. Please feel free to get in touch with them. Thank you so much for your attention. And thanks Nikolai, thanks Christopher for your time as well. And thanks for getting up early, Christopher. Okay, thank you.
Challenges. It is time for us to take a look at some of the newer technologies in this area. I will now like to call upon stage our final speaker for the day, Mr. Kamal Kishore. Kamal is a highly accomplished techno-functional leader at Nagarro with a track record of managing complex big data and analytics projects. During the course of his career, Kamal has been instrumental in building next-age technology solutions in leadership positions for various industry verticals. Kamal. Guys, a round of applause please.
Thank you. Is it audible? Alright. So long day guys, right? So far, you have gone through 4 different aspects of an analytics journey where you have seen, what all it takes to build a modern data platform and where the analytics currently stands. And we just had a good discussion on different use cases and the challenges. Right. So in this session, primarily I'm going to talk about, I'll start from the current state and we'll talk about the new drivers. And we'll focus majorly on the reinforcement and the transfer learning. And we'll see, how many questions we can catch up since we're already running out of time. I might be available after this session in case you have any questions. So, if you see, machine learning has evolved over a period of time. Not many years before, but around 5 to 7 years ago, almost analytics was a synonymous to the descriptive analytics, which includes having your different KPIs, a lot of manager reporting where we talk about what's our sales forecast, how much sales we are having, the stock reporting and all those things. And after that, the era of predictive comes up where we start building different machine learning models to predict what's going to come. And from there, the next thing is the prescriptive, where the models become more smarter, so that not only they're predicting, but they're also prescribing what can be done, what can be different approaches that a user can take. And the last is the cognitive. Cognitive is still an evolving state where the models are trying to become a bit more intelligent. They are going beyond the domain for which they are being trained.
And if you see, even the models has evolved over a period of time. Earlier, there used to be linear models. The linear models was worked on the strong assumption that the data is always going to be normal, which, if you are the data scientist here, you will agree with me that this is not the normal scenario in the real world. Data is never normal. It won't have normal distribution. There will always be noises. There will always be different types of anomalies that might exist in data. And so that's why these models were only able to solve a particular set of problems. Then came the age of the decision tree model, which basically loosened up the assumption of data, and which basically had to organize the data into different tree structure, and which basically helped us to basically build a better segmentation problem to get a better understanding of the complex data scenarios. And then came the gradient boosting models, which worked on the assumption that you don't have the data always. And since you don't have the data, you might not be able to get the right prediction. So can there be a way where we can boost our prediction models? So the models, the era of the gradient boosting comes basically started becoming popular, and the last one is the deep learning model. The deep learning model is, I would say, still in the current stage, where still some part of it is in the lab and some part of it has started becoming commercialized. It's developed on the neuron-based learning model algorithms, and that basically contains different series of layers, and which basically has to learn different complexities of the domain. And as we have seen in our earlier talks, the organization today are leveraging a lot of benefits through the predictive modeling. You can see a project like Darktrace, which is able to learn from different types of traffic that an organization is having, and they can predict the security threats that can be there within an organization. Similarly, there is an initiative like Nova Framework, which can write your emails, which can predict, which can understand your customers, and which can send your mails, and based on the response of the mail, the response that you get on your mail, it can rewrite it again, and so forth, like the Blue River project or the SIFT, which basically is preventing the chargebacks on the online transaction. So this all has been great. We all are living in a world of machine learning, where every day there's a lot of new experiments that are happening on the different machine learning models, and organizations are trying to adapt and trying to build on that path, where they can start using and building their data platforms. Let's take a pause, and I'd like to play a video over here that will beautifully demonstrate the future of machine learning, what's coming next. And this video is done by NVIDIA, which is one of the leaders in the graphic card.
It all begins from a single origin, a unique point in space and time. This is the spark of innovation that fuels your most amazing breakthroughs. It's a passion for discovery that unveiled the genesis of all that exists in the universe. Today, the power of AI helps computers achieve superhuman capabilities in image recognition, and lets scientists save our most precious resources by analyzing in 1 month what used to take 10 years.
是谁发明了机械计算机
Everyday devices translate even the most complex languages from voice into text, and images into words.
Xavier is now present.
Helping the visually impaired recognize an old friend, or letting a blind woman read to her child for the first time. Autonomous vehicles give us the freedom to reimagine our city streets and travel where there are no streets at all to help the lost find their way home. We see robots teach themselves to perform simple tasks. We even watch in awe as they take their first steps. And today, a 2,500-year-old game meets its match as a computer competes with one of the greatest human champions of all time and wins. This is the collective imagination. Fueled by forward-looking technologies and the beginning of your most amazing discoveries yet to come.
You all are talking about different use cases, and I really feel thrilled when I see this video all the time. So you can see what all is happening using the data and the new drivers of the machine in the analytics and AI field. Blind people are able to see, and the robots building in emotions in themselves. This sounds all fascinating, right? So imagine the world that would be there after 5 or 10 years. So, but let's talk the future, right? So we all have understood and have got a very clear understanding of in the future and the present. But do you think all these use cases can be built by just having the traditional supervisor and supervised machine learning? Any questions? Why, and if yes, why, and if not, why not? Okay, no worries. So, of course they are good, they are solving a lot of business problems, but they comes up with some inherent challenges. So, the biggest challenge is any machine learning model using this kind of techniques is only trained for a particular domain. For example, if you are building a model to recommend a product for a retail company, you can master it so that it can give you very high accuracy to predict what a customer might like to choose a product. Or if you are training a model that can, understand a particular type of images, you can train it to a superhuman level where it can be the best to identify a particular image. But the moment you ask it to basically predict for a different domain for which is not trained, you might see a certain drop in its performance, or it might completely break out. So that's the biggest complex scenario, right? In a typical scenario, as a human, as a person, we just don't deal with one domain. We work in inter-domain scenarios, right? Where we have to have some types of capabilities where we can take decisions on what could be the next best course of action, right? Or where we can learn from our existing learnings. So based on this kind of assumption, this kind of challenges, the new frontiers of the machine learning is getting popular. There are many, but the two of them which is getting really popular is the transfer learning and reinforcement learning, which basically talks or basically prescribe a way to have this kind of system in place. And they have opened up a complete new world to operationalize advanced machine learning use cases. So let's take a look at the transfer learning. So what is the transfer learning? So transfer learning is, as the name suggests, so it's an alternate approach to use a prior knowledge to basically offer prior knowledge of a model on which it was trained and use that knowledge to build a new model. Imagine, for example, you have, and the limitation of the traditional approach was you usually need a very huge data set, a very, very humongous data set to build a model. So, and then in some scenarios you don't have that big data available, and it was always a challenge. How can you make that, how can you build an analytics model on top of that system where you don't have that much data? Then transfer learning comes as a rescue in this kind of scenario. So imagine it is a very deep network. So basically imagine it as a big deep system, different types of system and approaches which works on an existing model that gets trained, that basically identify the knowledge that it needs to pick to basically get trained for a new domain and basically fit the features for the new requirements. Any questions on that transfer learning? Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So I Will this stand today in machine learning? Is it supervised, unsupervised, reinforcement? So I'm still actually struggling to understand that.
Okay, that's a very good question. I mean, to be honest, in a typical scenario, even most of the work that's been done is on the descriptive analytics. The organization currently are struggling to get a hold of their entire data. Right, the data is actually sitting into different silos, and the first thing that they're trying to build a system which that can help them to aggregate data at one place. Once you have all the data aggregated, then the second is to build and define different KPIs that can build on top of that data. So if I have to give a number, 60% or still the 80% of the typical scenarios are the descriptive use cases. Out of those descriptive use cases, the next 10 to 15% are the scenarios of the predictive analytics, where you have got a data and where you have got a real good training data available with you, and then you are building a model using supervised or unsupervised depending on the use case that you like to build, right? And doing the predictive modeling.
What's the difference between supervised and unsupervised?
That can open up a whole different discussion. So, supervised is where supervise a mechanism where you're training your model and where you're telling it, for example, where you have a training data set and you're training the data to identify what that particular object means. For example, if you have to train your model to identify, let's say, a piece of fruit, you will basically train your model, okay, an apple is something which is round, has got a color red, and then you basically provide different samples of the data. Unsupervised is where you don't have that labeled data available, where you want your model to automatically learn and classify different objects. So there are different ways and approaches to do that, and we can talk offline to basically answer this more precisely. And the third is, the third is the new technology that I'm talking over here, which basically use these techniques to build more advanced use cases. Okay. Any other question that anyone has? Okay.
Excuse me. Is transfer learning and reinforcement learning comes under unsupervised learning?
Not really. Not really. Right. So, how does it work? Let me basically, let me know how much deep we would like to go, but I'll try to still keep it abstract so that everyone over here understand it, and I don't want to too complicate this thing for most of the people. So imagine, imagine there's a source domain. For example, you have built a model that can identify the images of the images, right? Could be of different images, face and other thing. Then you apply basically different transfer learning algorithms here. Different types of transfer learning algorithms that, for the sake of the data scientists and technical folks sitting over here, are like the feature, like the CNN model is one of the approach. Where you basically have the convolutional neural network, or you apply basically domain irrelevant representations. That's one of the approach for transfer learning, right? You basically apply those models and you put them into a predictive model to achieve the target domain's features and all the specifications. And then you test it and then you keep calibrating the model again and again, right? So I'll take a case of face recognition here. I don't know how many of you heard about the ImageNet. So ImageNet is one of the biggest sources of images that exist, and the entire model is built on millions and millions of images that can identify different aspects of a human face. So the ideas can be used that ImageNet database to basically have specific characteristics, to build a new model that can identify different characteristics of an object. Could be of animal, could be of a flower, or could be something else. So you take an ImageNet model, apply the algorithm that basically meets your requirement. Could be CNN, could be domain. I mean, if you are moving away from any phase to any other specific thing, you can apply the domain invariant representation, and from there you define the features that you would like to identify, and based on that you train your model again. So that you don't really need the 1 million representation, but only few, like hundreds of different images to build your next model. Okay. So there are different applications of transformation that have been used currently. The one of predominantly is being used for face recognition, and the second is Uber's self-driven cars, or any other self-driven car. So, in the face recognition system, how does it work? So basically, it basically works on different layers of the convolutional layers. So you have a low-level convolutional layer and the high-level convolutional layer. The low-level convolutional layer captures those low-level image features, and the high-level convolutional layer captures the complex details such as body parts, face, and other compositional features. And whenever you have to basically perform a new task, you will use the off-the-shelf features of your CNN pre-trained on ImageNet, and you can train the new model by extracting the features. Generally, in practice, what we do, this sounds very technical, but in general practice, we either take the pre-trained parameters and fix them, or tune them with a small learning rate. And so that, and the other thing that we basically ensure that we don't unlearn the learnings of the previous models. So, any questions in that so far? Yeah.
Yes. Is this transfer learning based on SVM supported the machines, or is there similarity between those?
From an understanding point of view, you can think of it, but it's a bit more advanced. It works on the concept of the CNN and few other approaches, where you have got multiple layers involved.
Okay, so it is not related with SVM as such?
Not really.
And one more question. So how is the face recognition used in transfer learning different from the face recognition using SVM? Because SVM has a major role in the image and face recognition.
So you can have a system that's trained using SVM. So basically, you can have an SVM or any other classifier that you can train to identify your face, right? And it works fine for a particular domain, right? So you can have a SVM trained model that can identify an animal, or could identify basically a fruit, or could identify any other object, right? But here, the thing that we're talking about, can you use that learning of that trained model to build a new model, right? Is the learning, because you already have spent a lot of time to build that model. You might have trained that existing model on SVM or any other neural network, could be anything, right? And after all the efforts has gone, you have to make it really good for a particular domain. But now let's say your business grows, so you have a requirement where you need to train a new model for a new domain. You have to, earlier the only option that was available for to basically build a new model and again start training it from the ground up. You again gather all the training data set and then start training your model, right? And then put it through all different cycles of training model, right? But with the usage of transfer learning, you do not need to go through all the steps again. Right? If the domain, and there are 4 different scenarios where the transfer learning is used, which is like if the feature set and the domain representation is same, and if the feature is same, and if the domain representation of in one model is different than the domain representation in the second model. Plus the features and 2 other scenarios. It might get a bit technical. I'll stop here. But the fundamental thing is you have spent a year in building a domain. You have trained it through using millions of the images. Now, how can you leverage that model's learning to build a new model? That's the basic concept that goes behind transfer learning. Yeah.
Kamal, I just want to know, when you say that we have separate domains, right? So, if I have trained a model on millions of data points in, say, for a domain of, say, animals, how can I use that model to train a face recognition software?
Sorry?
How can I use that existing model of millions data points on a model that has been trained on images of animals to be used for a separate thing like a face recognition? So when you say that transfer,
so there are certain conditions that need to be met where you can apply the transfer learning, right? So basically, if those certain conditions are being met, then you can apply, the algorithm, those CNNs to build your new model. Generally, what we do when we basically in the real world scenario, we use the pre-trained parameters that are fixed, right? For example, in a particular domain, let me think of an example. For example, if there's a way your model is able to identify the color of your skin, this is one of the features. You can, and in the second domain, the color of the skin might be represented by the color of flower or something else. Or you need to have it, basically the domain gets changed, but the representation does not. You can have different mathematical model approaches. The CNN is one very predominant approach that's being used, and then there's another, there are 3 or 4 more that can be used to basically extract those features, and either you can have them fixed or you can fine tune them as per your new model. Okay. Any other question? Okay, I still have to cover a few slides. Let me just cover it up and I'll take the questions offline, right? So we just heard about the transfer learning. Let me go through the another thing is which is the reinforcement learning. Earlier I was talking about having a system which can understand what is the next outcome, what is the next course of action that needs to be taken, right? So it sounds amazing, right? So basically, where you are building a system that has different solutions, that has different approaches available, and can think what's the next course of action that needs to be taken. So in a simplified way, so reinforcement learning is another approach, is a way of machine learning approach where you have got an agent, and that basically is supposed to interact with the environment, and all its goal is to maximize its rewards. So like, you have got a kid at home, you basically tell them, there are certain things, option available to you, and if you perform this action, you will get rewarded. If you don't, you will get punished. And the kids start learning, what is the right thing that he or she should be doing to basically be more expert in a particular scenario. So same goes with the reinforcement learning model. So basically, essentially, it consists of a set of environment, basically different environment, I would call it as an operating environment, and agent, what is the agent which actually has to take a decision, a set of states, what can be different potential states an agent can go through, a set of actions, what are the potential actions that are available to an agent, and the policies of transition from one state to another, and the rules that determine whether a particular action will be rewarded or punished, right? So how it works, how generally works. So basically, agent interacts with this environment in discrete time steps. At each time, the agent receives an observation. For example, let's say if there is a self-driving car, if it moves, it will receive an observation back, from the surroundings, from the environment. Could be an obstacle, could be a red light, could be a different signal, right? And based on that, it has an option, to take a next course of action. Either it can stop, it can hit, it can accelerate, or it can take a break, right? And then basically these are the different options that an agent or the self-driving car might have. And based on the different situation, the car will choose an action from different actions available, and then it basically sends the action to its environment. And then based on the action chosen, the environment moves to a new state, and the agent is rewarded. The agent is either rewarded or not. And the goal of basically reinforcing learning agent is to identify and choose the actions which can maximize its rewards, right? So this is altogether a different way of thinking and learning than the typical, supervised learning. So imagine, there are multiple options available, multiple states available, and there's a program that's learning and calibrating the next course, which help it to get more, which help it to basically improve its productivity. So to do this, we really need different types of techniques. A few of them include TD lambda algorithms, RB network, deep Q learning. The deep Q learning is quite popular, which basically helps an agent to avoid state that lead to a low rewarding state, low rewards. And another is the policy gradient method, and it also needs a set of new analogous process to teach an agent. Using TD learning, Markov decisions, dynamic programming, Monte Carlo, and all those things. And I can talk about MDP here, where MDP basically is a decision process which basically helps an agent to identify the current state and help them to choose an action depending on that state. And the process, and basically it helps to respond to the next course of actions. And so having said this, we talked about transfer learning, we talked about reinforcement learning, but it's all not risk-free. There can be unintended consequences when we start training a system with intelligence. We as a human think about the different consequences, but an AI system might not be able to think about different consequences. They can come up with different novel and non-intuitive solutions to get rewarded or to achieve their goals. And if it goes uncontrolled, it can also become a problem or challenge for the developers or for the owners of the initiative. So to make sure that the AI should be used for the benefits of the human and to build better businesses, there are multiple initiatives that are currently happening. OpenAI is one of the prominent initiatives. They're basically ensuring that AI is progressing in a way that's beneficial rather than harmful. And so we at Nagarro is doing a lot of interesting work, and one of the work is that we are, from Ole was there. We are working together with CAIR, which is a research organization, and together with them, we are working on the new age projects like, using the new analytics models to optimize energy usage, and using, building on the models to understand how artificial intelligence can help doctors, and how computer can give advice on mental health. And some of the, having said this, there are certain use case area where where a lot of research and investment is going on, like to build machine that can explore, experiment and learn of its own. Someone asked this question in previous talks, right? Can machines start doing the predictive analysis by themselves? This is still an area in the research, and I will not be surprised if we see this starts happening after a few years, right? Another research area is deep information understanding and reasoning, and the third is communicating with the natural language. So with all this, I'll come to an end. So thank you for patiently hearing me, and in case you have any questions, I'll just around. Thank you.
Well, it's nice articulated, and the content delivery of the program was really good, and it's really happy to know about the offerings what the Nagarro is doing in the field of technology, in the field of analytics and the machine learning. And it will be great, and it's a great learning for me and for the future aspirants who are developing their career into the analytics. Thank you.
It was like great experience to come to Nagarro and take the experience about the machine learning and data analytics. Like I have been visited Analytics with their website since last 1 year, and I have been attended few seminars, and every time whenever I attend this seminar, I got a chance to learn something new about predictive modeling or data science or data analytics or machine learning, and about the way Nagarro people present it and they conduct seminar. It is really very interesting. I mean, people who don't have any option, who don't have any knowledge where to go about it and learning. So these people are really helping the other clients and the people like us to know and understand the Nagarro and the language in a better way. So I would appreciate the contribution done by Nagarro people. Thank you.
First of all, thank you Nagarro for conducting this session. I think the ambience was great, content was great. I think very much relevant to what we're doing in the industry today. Just some feedback, like probably it could have been more intuitive. I mean, I was expecting some more, brainstorming on the real-world use cases. I think there should be little emphasis on that. Structure was okay, the content was okay, but I think maybe it should be more, user-friendly, more intuitive. That's all I think. So I think, in the nutshell, I think it was informative, but it could have been more elaborative from a layman's perspective. Thank you.
It was a great experience. Prior to this, I was working with OpenCV and other frameworks, but I don't even know how the machine works and how the machine actually, what exactly the difference between the deep learning and machine learning. Right now, I was joined in the conference, so I really liked it, and I really want to be a part of data analysts as a career. So that's it.
a very great initiative by Nagaro, teaching all the students and all the particular concerned people about machine learning and other aspects. As in India, we see that the IT sector is quite behind. It can be counted in years that it is 2 or 3 years behind from the Western cultures. So I think it is a very great initiative and we can compete with the Western world. Thank you, sir.
Gupta. I am an analytics consultant with 4 years of experience, currently on a sabbatical to complete my thesis, which is used for PhD from Delhi University. I am having a great time over here, attending this event by Nagaro. I know Kunal Jain personally, and his talk was really insightful for a lot of beginners in data science. With respect to data science, I would like to mention that it's a rat race right now, where R stands for research, A stands for analytics, and T stands for technology. And in this particular priority order, every beginner should look forward to own their skills, to nurture their skills. So with respect to the core concepts of data science, you need to first decide that which area you want to focus on, and then you should go into the depth and breadth of that particular thing. All the best to Nagaro for conducting such events, and hope to see some more in the future. Thanks.